What's happening, folks? Welcome to this recorded episode. Again, we are not live. This is a recorded episode here on Monday night. Welcome to the Paddle and Fin Podcast Network. Doc Talk is up next, man, and we're going to jump in the pool this time. We're going to talk a little fishing, take care of some stuff there. Then we're going to do a little PSA action here, man. We're going to talk a little bit of social media. That's right. You hear it first time. We're actually going to talk a little politics here. The purpose of this is because of the people. And we'll get into that. First off, let's go ahead and get this show cranked up. What's happening, folks? Welcome to the TPO Doc Talk podcast. Again, this show is pre-recorded. We are not live. If you're watching this here at 6 p.m. on Monday nights at 6 p.m. Mountain Time or 7 p.m. Central, thank you very much for tuning into our show. As always, this is a recorded episode. Right about now, I'm probably in the state of Colorado after driving for almost 12 and a half, 13 hours or whatever, coming back from a quick trip to Minnesota. My mother is turning 90 this weekend, and so we're making a quick run out there to go celebrate her 90th birthday with her. And I was not sure we were going to be back in time for this thing to go live. So we went ahead and recorded this episode here for you folks to make sure. There's only been one time in 3 years that we've ever missed that 6 o'clock, and that was because of a power outage. We got on 15 minutes after the fact. But yeah, man, so this is a recorded episode. If you're watching this recorded, then it's normal for you to be watching it recorded. If you're watching it live, thank you very much for tuning in. Please feel free to throw the comments in there. And if you're watching through YouTube, please make sure hit that subscribe button and share our channel with your family and friends. We can use all the help we can get when it comes to getting more and more of those. So tonight, man, we're going to talk some fishing. We're going to do that right up front. And then we're going to jump into a couple topics. Social media we've talked about before, but we're going to jump into that one. And then we're going to, for the first time in 3 years, and this is something I normally don't get involved in. We don't comment on this just because of how diverse it is there, but I'm going to attempt to have a conversation with you folks and express some opinions here. The sole purpose is literally in the veins of an attempt to bring some clarity and open up. You know what? If you're anywhere near social media right now, politics are all you see. And what we continue to see over and over again is that we are supposed to be a united states, not a divided states. And that's what you see. And so I know a lot of people personally that are going to be stepping away because it's an election year. They're going to be stepping away from all social media, which is a shame, man, because there are some good things that social media can provide and some cool stuff. And so to lose out just because, it's over just blasted with a bunch of garbage nonstop. So that's why we're going to get into that here in a little bit. First up, let's talk fishing. If you were watching on a couple of our last live episodes, then you know that recently here, and I should say over the past couple years, my tournament results have not been where I wanted them. Yes, we've cashed a few checks. Yes, we've done a couple things like that. But my performances, that's really what I base this on. It wasn't where I know it can be. And so I've been kind of, fighting against the current in several cases. Well, it kind of boiled over at this last event here because what I thought I had, I didn't have, and it just really got to me inside. And I've been doing this a few years, man. So it's not as if I'm a stranger to the mental beating that our sport, provides. But I'll tell you, I had to do some soul searching, man. I had to really dig in. I stay busy. I technically work for two nonprofit organizations and I own one nonprofit organization, and we all do relatively the same thing. With Heroes on the Water, the work that we do there, we provide outings for the Denver VA and other VAs around, 10 to 14 participants at a time that we can do. And we go around and we paddle, fish, heal. Right? It's a fantastic nationwide organization. With the Romans Warrior Foundation, our field ops division is something that we try to plan trips that involve kayak fishing and camping and bonding and healing. And helping is healing, right? Romans Warrior Foundation. And of course, the True Patriot Outfitters, which is the namesake of our Doc Talk podcast, which we do small group kayak fishing excursions. And sometimes we try to do those in small little camping outings where we go to a neighboring state or something and we take 2 to 3 people max at a time. And we really focus on the fishing and we focus on the bonding and creating new friendships and a new connection for our nation's warfighters. So pretty much, and then I fish a few tournaments here and there. I used to fish the All American Kayak Series. I've fished some Bassmaster National Series, chasing that stuff around the country, and then locally fished the CKB. Tried to get in a CKFC event this year, and then the winter time just decided to make that a miserable outing, but still fished the event. Um, you know, Really what it had boiled down to, folks, to be honest with you, man, is that the only time I was fishing was either work or taking others. Tournament fishing is work. I mean, you got to go through, there's a grind that's involved in that. There's the travel, there's the getting out all your stuff ready to be on the road and be gone for a few days and have everything you need. You got to put in the work. This sport is relentless. There are no shortcuts. Time on the water is everything. So what I was doing was either taking others fishing or prepping for a tournament. That was the only time. And to be honest with you guys, what I fell victim to is just kind of getting in the routine. The grind that is tournament fishing, especially if you're doing it nationally, those guys and gals that are watching that do this nationally will attest to this. There is a grind, and you better embrace the suck that comes with that, because it's not all just ripping lips and cutting checks, right? It's there's a lot more that goes into that, and it's a grind, and you got to love the grind, right? Well, and I still do. I still absolutely do not mind the grind that going through that, but I kind of fell into this routine where it was step by step. I knew what was coming next. I've been doing this long enough now where there weren't many surprises. This is the next step. This is the next step. I get on scene. I prep the camp. I get everything set up. Go through my gear. Do this, do that. And it just became kind of a routine. What I had lost about this was the love of the hunt. The hunt for these fish. I had kind of turned it in my head into a systematic process is what it was, as opposed to an art form of you versus yourself making good decisions and listening and paying attention to your environment and what Mother Nature is telling you. You can't be adversarial with Mother Nature. You just can't. She will win every time. That is a guaranteed. So you need to learn the fact that you're against yourself. You're working against yourself, and you need to find ways to work with yourself and work with your surroundings, your environment, and what the lake's telling you, what the weather's telling you, what the fish are telling you. And you need to be able to get in that mode, that frame set in your mind, where you fall back in love with that hunt. It's the hunt to find them, which is the journey, right? The end result is that grip and grin and that getting it on the measuring board, doing this, or send it to your friends. Or when you take somebody fishing, the journey is putting them in that position where they get to do that grip and grin and they get that experience, those memories. And they did it by hunting down these fish, finding where they exist, and not just finding fish, but then finding quality fish. That's tough to do on new waters. That's tough to do on even known waters if you're just going through the process, man. If that's all you find yourself doing, well, then you've lost touch with what it is that attracted us to the outdoors, the kayaks, fishing itself. And that's where I had gotten, man. And I'll be honest with you, I've had a chance to go out with a few friends, and I've spent at least a third of my time when we were out on the water, not even casting, but just kind of floating, with my kayak next to my buddies, talking life, talking fishing, getting to know these guys that I respect. As humans and as other anglers. I love these guys for their decisions, their humor, their lives that they lead. And it was so cool to reconnect, especially with several of the TPO Pro Team guys, Nick and Flanagan, um, and watching Collins out there on his stuff, and Scott Brand's doing his thing, and of course our Missouri connection out there, John Denton, Stony Floyd, Trev Stuckey, watching him do his thing. All the guys, Calvin Fuss out here, he is just the MacGyver of kayak fishing, and just all around. He just loves the outdoors. He loves to tinker and work on his stuff, and then go out and just catch a crap load of fish and get some cool content in the process. And so it's been cool just watching, all these guys real close and getting to know them better. Um, some of them don't even realize that, I've been stalking them on Facebook and watching their stuff, and going through and just finding their love, using their passion to help fuel me to get me back to where I need to be, man. And I'm happy to report the hunt's back. Well, I'm happy to be running to Minnesota to go see my mother for her 90th. I'm going to miss, like yesterday, going out with a buddy of mine up to and working on 2D sonar and getting more comfortable with the drop shot rig. I used to fight it and make fun of it. I'll still make fun of it, but I'm not fighting it anymore because I love the hunt aspect of finding these fish more than I hate finesse fishing. So I'm willing to go past it. I literally rigged up on the water, 6 pound test line, and was casting it, and I wasn't even cussing, man. Wasn't grumbling. I wasn't throwing a fit. I was just enjoying my time. And just we caught a pile of dinks, and because that is Horsetooth, I think, pretty much is that dink city these days. But nevertheless, the love of getting back out again and trying to unravel this stuff and trying to figure it out. I'm not spinning out in the head. I'm not getting burnt out. And that's coming back. I hope that spells bad news for a bunch of people that I get to fish against. But in the same regards, I also can't wait to get back out and fish and be competitive. Do my part to push my buddies, make them, better anglers, and do that by being a strong competitor with them. And that's how we get better, right? Iron sharpens iron. And here lately I've been pretty much a sponge, not so much iron, more terry cloth is more what I've been than anything else. So I'm looking forward to coming back and feeling like I can be there again, and that I'm truly when I show up to the lake, I'm looking forward to cashing a check and doing well, performing well, those type of things. Speaking of cash and checks, man, coming up next, the All American Kayak Series Minocqua Event. Folks, northern Wisconsin, this time of year in the summer, there might not be prettier places in the United States in July than the great north of this beautiful nation. You get up to the Minocqua area. We got a 50-mile radius that you can fish any of those bodies of water. That takes you all the way to the border of Wisconsin and Michigan, the upper peninsula of Michigan. It's that far up there. If you've been looking for a bucket list location where you want to go possibly catch your PB smallmouth fish and do it in an area that is absolutely stunning and beautiful, Minocqua is the place for you. Get yourself up there. Still time. Go out to Tony X, look up the All American Kayak Series. Stop number 4, Minocqua, Wisconsin. Go check it out. This is going to be the guys that went last year. We didn't have a big roster last year, but we're partnering with the Great Lakes Kayak Fishing Series this year. So they're going to be having an event same time that we are. Hope to see a bunch of their guys jumping in the event with us here. We're going to be having Nick from the Great Lake Kayak Fishing Series. He'll be coming on the 22nd. He'll be coming on the show here. The next episode after you see this one, he'll be on here with us to talk about the event coming up. We've got this thing's going on July 27th, July 28th. End of July, get up north. It's going to be absolutely beautiful up there. And the fishing is like literally, especially if you're coming from the west or whatever, it's like nothing you've seen before. Even you guys in the Midwest, mid-range, southern areas, get up there and go see what that's like. Big green fish, big brown fish. And lots of them, man. People in the areas are super friendly. It's a very, very well-traveled area there, but this is a place you could take the family to. Fish the tournament, take the family, go enjoy the local towns and the local little shops and the food. and just a lot of the different events that are going on in these places. And yeah, man, Minocqua, Wisconsin, get signed up. All American Kayak Series, stop number 4. Don't miss it. Great, great payouts. This one is presented by Z-Pro Lithium. Of course, the entire season is presented and powered by for the All American by Z-Pro Lithium. But this one up here, man, like I said, the payouts with the All American are some of the highest of all structures that you're going to see out there. After the fees are paid for, you're talking PayPal, TourneyX, admin, championship pot, angler of the year, and then the big bass. Once that's paid out, top 10% of the field is going to get the rest of the money. Dude, that's 100% payback after the fees are covered, right? I mean, that is a solid deal. You're making a pile of good cash when you get up there. And so definitely get in, be watching for the 22nd as well. We'll be doing a little preview. We'll talk to the Great Lakes Kayak Fishing Series, and we'll get their ideas on the place, get some of their history, and see the experience they've had with it up there. Look for the guys that fished it last year with the All American. It was on their schedule last year. The guys that went up there come back and just in awe. It was beautiful. The fishing was fantastic, and they had an absolute blast. It's worth the drive to get up there. If you're on the fence and you're not sure, put it on your list. July 27th, 28th, All American Kayak Series presented by Z-Pro Lithium up in Minocqua, Wisconsin. Okay, what we're going to do real fast here, we're going to throw a quick True Patriot Outfitters commercial at you, 30 seconds. And when we come back, we're going to talk social media, and you heard it. First time in 3 years. We're going to talk a little politics here, so stick with us and check this out. And welcome back. The reason I played that commercial, multiple reasons, but one of the most important reasons that I played that commercial is because the men that you see and the women that you see in that video, although I don't think we had any females in that, but we have taken many female veterans, first responders out on kayak fishing trips, but the men and women that are behind the very people that we serve, those people that dedicated their life to serving others, currently and in the past, and in the future. They are the reason for these next 2 topics that I'm bringing up. And I'm going to explain this. So stick with me here. It's going to be a little bit of a journey. You're going to have to put on your thinking cap here. And again, I'm going to express opinions. These opinions are by no measure the opinions of the Paddle and Fin Podcast Network or any of the awesome supporters or sponsors that take care of the True Patriot Outfitters. This is Gene Campbell's opinion and my statements alone. Nothing more. I want to make sure that that is fully understood. And I have no problem doing this just because of the fact that I know where this is coming from. And what we're going to do is we're going to have a conversation about these 2 topics, and we're not going to do name calling. We're not going to do divisive tactics, things of this nature. What I'm going to try to do is open your eyes to something that, quite frankly, I think a lot more people need to get there. First thing, let's go with social media. So I spent several years in the IT industry. I've done many looks, if you will. I've been studied on. I have several degrees, and this is an area that is close to home to me that I have a little bit more knowledge than the average bear on. And I need you to understand something. Social media, I don't care what platform it is, whether it's obscure stuff like, way off there, LinkedIn or whatever they do, all the way to the Facebook and Instagram, Snapchat, you name it. Every single post that you see is created with a purpose in mind. Okay? The thing you need to be concerned about in that statement, every post created is created with a purpose. Where you need to be concerned and where your brain needs to go to when you're reading and looking and scrolling at this stuff is, what's the purpose of this post? Okay? This is a survival guide if you want to take a look at this. Now, I'm not talking about Aunt Jessie throwing up, a recipe for a great, grilled chicken or potato salad, type deal of some kind. I'm not talking about that post. I'm talking about the memes. I'm talking about have you seen Trump this? Have you seen Biden that? Have you seen the left this? Have you seen the right that? This project this, libtard that. Every one of those things that you see out there was not created because they thought it was funny. Okay, you need to get that sunk inside your brain when you're strolling through social media. There is a narrative. There is a guided response that they are looking for. And it isn't done in a singular move. Okay, it is far more complex than that. The sociology behind this stuff is far more complex. I'm going to use that term they. They I'm going to refer to as the people that have a vested interest in your response. Now, whatever that response may be is not relevant to this, but they have a vested interest in how you respond and how you reply to these things and how you react more than anything. That's who they are. That could be somebody at your local level. It could be at the federal level. It could be somebody in a closed, room. It could be somebody watching this post right now, planning on ways to come shut me down. Or it could be somebody that owns a small business down the street from you. Keep that in mind as we go through this. The purpose is what you need to be concerned about. We are very quick in the social media landscape to subjectively view it. Okay, meaning we're looking for things to help us support a feeling that we currently have. We attract ourselves to and we latch on to those things in social media that support our ideas and our feelings and our opinions. This is just natural human tendency, okay? That's what. If we were to objectively look at this stuff, we would question the meme that quotes tax percentages. And we would ask ourselves, where'd you get your info? Where did that info come from? Because as we've learned, you can construe data and throw it out there in the public eye, and people will buy it, whether it's real or not. Okay, whether you sourced that information to be a legitimate source or whether you looked at this in a scientific method, but we'll cite these percentages about inflation and about jobless rates and about thises and that's and vaccines and medical this, medical that. And the people that were sourced aren't even in the medical profession. They're not even in the financial industry. But they read something and they had an assumption of this and because this and this looked like it should go together, it does. Therefore, they make the meme. Now it becomes this social media justice. It becomes this opinion fact that people grab onto and they start regurgitating it. And after it's said so many times, well, then that also tends to give credence because, well, I saw it 6 different times. I guess I don't need to research it. I guess other people probably have. So it's got to be real. That's what they want. That's part of the machine, man. You need to know that. I'll tell you, one of the things that I do that helps, I don't use social media for politics, religion, or anything overly too serious. Point in fact, when I'm looking through my news feed, I literally unfollow. I have a couple very good friends that I love dearly that I literally snooze for like 30 days at a time because all I keep seeing is political posts from them. And I don't want to see that stuff, okay? Because all it is just regurgitated garbage that, funny or not, real or not, that's not the time and place for it. Okay, that is not an impact piece there. I'm going to go out on a limb here. I would bet that less than 0% of people that look at social media have ever changed their mind based on a post from somebody they know or don't know. Less than 0% is what I'm going to bet. Now, I don't have anything scientifically to back that up, But I would be very surprised if my math or my assumption here was somehow challenged. That just because of a post or because of somebody saying something else that discredited over and over, because that's the routine. You don't talk about the positives of who you like. You talk about the negatives of everybody else, and you post it in social media. And that's all you're going to see blasted down your throats for the next 6 months, 5 months, until this election is done. And when the election is done, then it'll go on for a few more months and it'll taper, and then it won't be as hot and heavy because there won't be as much of a vested interest, and the money's and everything won't be at stake then. That's not by happenstance, folks. There's a reason it picks up. There's a reason it goes on and on and on, because that's what they know has worked. Okay, I'm not going to say it does work, but it has worked. Hopefully, we start to wise up to this kind of stuff. We understand that these memes, these opinions, these things, especially through some of the scarier platforms like TikTok and things of that nature, you hopefully start to look at this thing objectively. Objectively look at this content and start rejecting the garbage. Unfollow. Don't show this to me anymore. I don't want to see things like this. Okay? Use social media for a way of what it was meant to be, as social, right? Good things, positive things. This country is so divided right now, and social media seems to be the number one weapon to help keep us divided. We, the people. We, the people. That's at the heart, right? I mean, that's where this whole thing goes. Just because we have a different opinion or a different, hey man, maybe you like pistachio ice cream, and I think that stuff is like straight from the devil's underwear. I hate it. Doesn't mean I have to hate you. It just means your ice cream is not going to get touched if it's in my fridge, or in my freezer. You go ahead and have it. I'm going to have my chocolate. Or I'm going to have, my butter pecan. Just because we choose different areas, stop believing what they want you to believe, which is you got to be adversarial with everybody out there. This is absolutely absurd and ridiculous and goes against the very foundations and the very principles by which this great nation was formed and fought for us to be here today. It is very true. I do not share the sentiment that our nation is not great. Our nation is absolutely 100% great. Does it have a dark history? Does it have black eyes? Has it done bad things? You better believe it has. Like everybody else, we're one of the youngest ones out there, and it's still growing. And if we allow it to grow, and if we stop trying to stunt its growth, we'll correct course. We'll get things right. We'll continue to move forward. There are men and women and families that have sacrificed everything. They have sacrificed the quality of their life so that you and I could have the chance to better the country, so that you and I would have the opportunities to continue to allow this great nation to be great and to be greater. There's a real popular saying out there, make America great again. She never has not been great. From the moment it was formed, the blood and the sacrifice of those human beings that created this country made it great. Just because something's great doesn't mean it doesn't have room to grow, doesn't mean it doesn't have bad, negative things that go with it. The universe teaches you that, is that balance. Too much of any one thing in the universe is usually a short-lived bad thing. It burns out and goes away. Okay? Everything in the known universe falls under that. It's in that balance. That balance is where we find things. And the country is no different. It's no different whatsoever. This is a poorly attempted segue as we get into this political landscape. Everything that you think you know right now today about the people and the parties that are in our face on a daily basis, everything that you know and your opinions and everything about it, I need you to understand something. It was planted there. That's what they want. What you think you know about the parties and everything is what they've wanted us to know. That's what they've made sure that this is what we think of. If you go back to the very first president of this great nation, George Washington, he was an independent. He wasn't a Democrat. He wasn't a Republican. He was an independent. That was our very first president, the one and only independent ever in our country's history. This nation was founded on the principles of government of the people, by the people. We are not a 100% democracy. Young people, you need to listen to this. You're not a 100% democracy, and you should probably be thankful that we're not. We're a democratic republic. Okay? Majority rule still stands, provided it adheres to and abides by our Constitution. The Constitution of the United States is the most binding document we have. That is what continues to provide the framework, that continues to provide a foundation to prevent anarchy, to prevent very simple majority rule. If majority rule were the only thing that we needed in this country, well, I'm afraid you would have almost little to no minority rights. Handicapped folks probably wouldn't have any type of special parking or any type of special accommodations made for them, because the majority would be the only rule, not the minority. It is because we are a republic that we can, with the Constitution backing us and the majority of folks working together, it is that chemistry, that complex setup that provides the ability to provide rights where rights are needed if they've been infringed upon or stepped. And our civil rights movement of this country was one that absolutely showed that, and we continue to try to get those things right as we go forward. But it was never designed so that a few would control the many, or that a few opinions should dictate how the many have to react to it. That was never what we were designed to do. What these parties have done now, they're not the same parties. You look at the evolution of these parties. And for those of you that hold patriotism to a singular party, I'm going to throw out something to you. If you have grown up this party and you still remain this party no matter what, and nothing this party does can change that, then you are very subjective in your listening, because you're not looking at this from an objective point of view. Because these parties have changed their stripes, they've changed their colors, they've swapped roles over the course of history. Did you realize, a long time ago, the Democratic Party was the religious party. They were that was the Bible Belt. This was those Southern Democrats. It was, look back through and take a little bit of time with history. You can go into the weeds as deep as you want. I'm staying very topical right now. But nowadays, the Democratic Party, while they may say God bless America, most certainly the churches as a whole in this nation do not back them. The churches absolutely back the Republican Party more than anything. And that is just one tiny, simple, overly simplified example of what I'm trying to get at, is that these parties have changed over the course of years. So it is almost detrimental to just be blind in that case and not stop for a second and take a peek at this stuff. Now, wherever you line up, whatever team you choose to grab with, there needs to be an understanding that the other team isn't a spawn of Satan. The other team isn't Hitler. The other side, the other opinions are not evil. They're not the devil. They're just a different opinion. And the very fact that you try to manifest it into that, you need to understand they want that. Now you can ask, why, Gene? Why do they want that? It's very simple. Because you keep your attention focused at your fellow citizens and not at the clowns that are sitting up right here, pulling all these puppet strings, getting us to fight against each other. They use everything from sexuality to race to political views to religious whatever it may be, whatever topic they can continue to shove using social media as its number one weapon. shoved down our throats because we're not doing anything to arm ourselves against it, that's what they want. Because that allows them the freedom to maneuver and do the things that they need to do while we stay focused just on our petty differences over here. This is a real thing, okay? And we need to be aware of it. We need to do our part to not fall victim to what they want from this stuff. We need to hold them accountable. I'm going to talk briefly about this debate that just took place. If you watched that debate, or if you watched any amount of time of that debate, and you left that debate feeling good about your candidate, then I throw back to you one more time is you are not paying attention. You are not subjectively you are not objectively viewing this content. That was the most disgraceful and absolutely absurd circus show that CNN put on, and the Republicans and the Democrats. I'm sorry, folks, but here comes the hard opinions. For the last 50, 60 years, the Republicans and Democrats together collectively have failed this nation. They pander to the special interest. We all know it. They themselves say it. They take care of those that feed the lot, and they do it off of our backs. You look at the amount of absurd taxation that we deal with in this country nowadays. When you think about the very reason of why we had a revolt to begin with, how small that taxation was, and the people absolutely flipped. They would not deal with it. You look at the history piece of where we've come to, what we've begun now, and what we accept. This is not done by one party. Okay? You cannot spin that web. Not if you're going to look at real fact and real data. You cannot. The Republicans and the Democrats collectively and individually have failed this country over and over and over again. And if we like them, we make excuses for them. If we like them, we say it was because the other side did this to them, or the other side did this 20 years ago and now we're just now seeing it. Can you honestly believe that anymore? Think about it. Well, of course, that makes the easiest sense. But then why is it when they get back in office, I continue to lose more money? I continue to work harder, not make as much. The price of everything continues to go through the roof. My ability to live that American dream grows smaller and smaller and smaller. If we do have some young people watching this, if you're 18, 19, 20 years old, my heart goes out to you. I don't know what I would do if I were in your shoes looking at today's landscape as far as home ownership is concerned, job pay, future benefits, being able to establish some sort of, retirement of some kind, being able to buy land, buy property, do things, take vacations. The prospects are pretty darn slim for these kids these days. They're hard enough on those of us that are, in our 40s to 60s. The prospect of being able to retire early continues to just drift away for the majority of Americans. You can't just sit there and use your view of your surroundings. Meaning, let's say you live in a big city. You can't simply reject that opinion of those who live in small town USA. Somehow you think that if there isn't an education or if there isn't an experience that matches something that you deem as qualified, that makes their opinion invalid. It makes their opinion uneducated in that case. But they could claim the same for you because you don't know what it's like to live their life. You don't understand when, for instance, things that I've had an opportunity to see, when we talk about renewable energies and things that are better for the planet, hey, I'm all in support of that, you bet. But when they go into an area and they shut down a steel mill because of this or that or whatever good righteous reason they had, and now it's replaced with this or over, 100 miles away, What no one talked about, what no one wants to face is, I've seen this firsthand. All these little towns within a 50-mile radius surrounded that literally get boarded up because those people worked in that steel mill. And now all these little towns and all these families have been affected by that one steel mill shutting down. There was no secondary plan to help them get new jobs. That was gone by, see ya. We're shutting the doors. We're moving it to Mexico, or we're moving it to Canada, or we're doing whatever. We're just moving into wind turbine now, or we're whatever the case may be. I watched and drove through these towns, and it looked like something out of a third world country. Right here on American soil. Businesses with boards on their windows. Homes in disarray. Homes that you quite frankly would want to take a bulldozer to, but you could see kids' toys in the front yard. Meaning people still live there, and they're still trying to make their way by whatever means they can. Are you going to sit there and try to be that arrogant to say that their opinion doesn't matter? That's not what this country was founded on. But that's what the Republicans and the Democrats and the system, the media, that's what they want. They want that diversity. I'm telling you that. Pay attention. Look around you. It's taken me a lot of years. I'm a slow coach. It took me a lot of years to figure this out. They want those things. CNN did not allow any third party to come in there and debate. Have you ever wondered why? Why doesn't the media? Well, first and foremost, the media was influenced by the Republicans and the Democrats. They don't want third party. You have to meet some absurd, idiotic, and not legitimate rankings in some sort of poll to be considered to even be allowed into the debate. Why? Why is it that hearing from somebody who isn't in the pocket of big oil, big pharma, big everything else, why is hearing their opinions a bad thing or a waste of time? Maybe that candidate doesn't have much of a shot at winning because the monies and they aren't going to help support that person. But man, wouldn't it be kind of cool to hear some common sense approach as opposed to asking, what are you going to do in your economy? And the response is, this guy's a jerk. Because that's what took place in that last debate. Questions were not answered. There was insults thrown, like a pair of toddlers fighting over a Lego building. It was absurd. It was an embarrassment. Are you seriously going to sit there and try to tell me that that's the best that this great nation can offer up to lead our country? Why is it that CNN and other media outlets, why don't they want to allow a third party in? Why have they allowed the Republicans and Democrats to control them to not allow third party of any kind? Why is it that states make it so difficult for third party members to get on a ballot? They make it absurdly difficult. Not legitimately that, hey, this is how you get there so that we don't have a ballot full of 150 names. That's easy to do. That's easy to do. But when they start adding different garbage and criteria, this is something that's relatively recent, folks. It's relatively recent. My personal opinion, this came as a fallout of the 1992 election when Bill Clinton won the election with less than 50% of the vote. Ross Perot was an independent candidate, and he shook the system by the amount of people that went over to him. Now, it just so happened in his case, more conservatives came his way. Right now, there's third-party candidates out there that, quite frankly, people think more would attract more from the left than it would from the right. But if they pay close attention, there's a lot of conservative thought in a lot of these third-party members out there. But this is my point. I'm not here to talk about the people. I'm here to talk about what's going on when it comes to, you've been told that voting something other than Republican or Democrat is a wasted vote. The moment you believe that, the moment you start to strategize that in your head and believe that that is real and that that is true, that's what they wanted. Who told you that? Where did that come from? They. Yeah. They want you to believe that. Now, if you objectively look at everything, I believe I have objectively sat back for a couple of years and watched some stuff pretty closely, and I have now come up with the opinion that by casting a vote for a party or someone associated with a party that has given me nothing but about 40, 50 years worth of reasons why they have failed this nation, to me that feels like more of a wasted vote than casting a vote of what I believe is best for this country. You know, not too long ago, there was this Rock the Vote thing MTV started trying to get young people out and get them voting. And the statement was, find out a topic that means the most to you personally and vote based on that. Okay, great concept, really piss poor execution. It's not about you. Sure, I would like a lot of things. When you vote for somebody who's going to be the leader of this entire nation, should you not be voting for what you think is best for the entire nation? You know, if you've been a parent for any amount of time, you understand that. It isn't what is the easiest for you. It isn't what is best for you. It's what's best for them. It's what's best for their future. And when you vote in this country, your vote should be done in that fashion. What is best for the majority of this country? What do I feel puts us in the best position forward? It doesn't crap on somebody else. It doesn't make our success off the back of someone else. This is something that is the right decision that I feel takes our country in a better area. You know, that somewhere along the way, if you look at the simple Pledge of Allegiance, there's a couple statements in there. Say them a little bit slower and listen to the words. With liberty and justice for all. All. Liberty and justice for everyone. Not just a select few, not just a couple that fall in line with your beliefs. Everyone. I'm saying this to both sides. Everyone deserves and should have, by the American Constitution itself, liberty and justice. We are a government of the people and by the people. You place your vote based on what you believe is the best for this country as a whole, and objectively view that. Stop believing the crap that they are shoving down your throats out there. Arm yourself against this kind of stuff. Don't just be this parrot on the shoulder of the Republican or Democratic pirate, because that's what they are. They're robbing this country blind, and they're using us to get it done. They're robbing you blind. They're pushing their own agendas, moving crap forward. And at the heart of all of this, folks, the reason I'm taking all this time is because I have now dedicated, my family has dedicated its life to providing a small thing by serving those that have served and continue to serve. I will not cast a vote or help propagate garbage that damages the very thing that they have given their entire lives to protect. This country is great. This country has a long way to go to be even greater. This country needs a lot of work. We are the most powerful and the greatest nation on this planet, the United States of America. United States. We need to get back to start acting like that. We can be adults. We can have disagreements. We don't have to go to name calling. We don't have to be, mouth breathers when it comes to our differences. We can simply say, I disagree with you, Ben. Fair enough. Cool. It is what it is when it comes to that. Now, if you're citing religion and if you're bringing that kind of stuff into it, you need to understand that there are men and women that have fought and died to keep your religion out of our politics. And that should remain. Your politics are yours and your family, Your religion is your family's and yours, and that's where it should remain. This country has a separation of church and state for a good reason. It's because we were ruled by a nation that allowed its church and its religion to control a whole heck of a lot. And we learned from our history that that's bad. That's not good. Very simple when it comes to that stuff. But when it comes to us figuring out the way we need to go and where we need to go, we can do that as adults. We don't have to get at each other's throats and so horrible with this stuff. A government of the people, by the people. I hope that somewhere along in this conversation that it is giving you maybe a different perspective on things. I don't care if you vote right, if you vote left, if you vote down the middle. If we're friends, we're going to remain friends. That doesn't change. You still have my respect. You still have my love. It's still completely fine. We're going to keep doing what we're doing, which is taking care of those individuals who make it possible for this fat, goofy kid to sit behind a camera and talk to you folks every Monday night. They've provided this. They provided the freedom for my kids to have an opportunity to go out and try to find a way to make a living and create life and memories for themselves. They've provided us with this great nation that we all enjoy and use on a daily basis. And we owe them our gratitude. And we owe them at least to do our part as citizens of this great nation to help move our nation and leave something positive behind for the next generation. Not leave a big old hot dumpster fire out there. That's that, man. That's as far as we're going to dive into any of this stuff. That's the most I'm going to say on this stuff. It's a big year. Like I said, think objectively. Arm yourself on the social media tip, man. Reject the crap that keeps flowing in your face. Unfollow it. Don't watch it. Snooze somebody if all they do is blast that stuff down on the daily. Just, you look at my feed, man, you're going to see pit bulls like crazy because we love Amstaffies here. Fishing, of course, and some funny stuff, man. Sports, other sports, hockey, and different things like that. That's what I try to stay focused on with social media and my close friends and family. We share cool stories. We share touching moments and the people that we serve out there. And I personally don't have much issue when I go through my social media stuff anymore. I do get the occasional stuff that comes in there, and like I said, I unfollow, I do this, and those algorithms start to get picked up. You're never going to get it all out of your system this time of the year, and with it being an election year, but at least you can kind of arm yourself a little bit and make it worthwhile a little bit more than normal. So endeth our rant. So endeth our talk. I appreciate you guys watching this recorded episode. Again, this episode is recorded. We are not live tonight. If you've commented while this has been going on, thank you so very much. I sincerely appreciate those comments. And when I get back in town, probably Tuesday morning when I'm back amongst the living there, I'll go through all the comments that we have on this, and we'll give some likes and shares on some of that, and we'll try to reply to some of the comments if there's any questions. As a usual reminder out there, if you know of one of our nation's warfighters, first responders, former first responders, family, active military, veteran, if you know of them and you haven't spoken to them, well, reach out and talk to them. Reach out and say, hey, go fishing with them. Take them fishing. Go grab lunch. Go grab a beer. Go over to their house and bug them. Have them come over to your house for dinner or barbecue, whatever. Make contact. Let them know. I don't care if you yourself are a veteran or not, if you got a neighbor that is there. Remind them of how important they are to us, how much we are appreciative of what they have done, and that they're not alone. That is the piece of our Stop 22 tour, is to always remind these individuals out there how important they are to us, and that their purpose is still out there, and their purpose is they're still highly, highly needed in our community and on the daily, and that they're loved, man. What they've done is not in vain, and we won't allow it to be in vain. That's a piece there, and that's a reminder of one of our pro team guys reminds me of that each time. He made me promise to throw that out there every chance we can. We're going to stop this veteran suicide. We're going to stop our brothers and sisters losing the war back home here after they fought so hard to get through hell on one side. We're not going to let them come home and have that. So reach out to them. Let's all do our parts out there to help get that stuff handled. Thank you, folks, so very much. Make sure to smash that subscribe button on YouTube. That is a big, big deal for us. Check out the All American Kayak Series, man. It's coming up, Minocqua. If you're looking for a bucket list place, take the family with you up to this one. It is a gorgeous, gorgeous section of the country. And, fishing with the All American, you can't go wrong there. We're going to have the Great Lakes kayak fishing guys. We'll have one, maybe a couple of their guys on the show next Monday night. And we'll be talking about Minocqua up there. And, of course, all the Colorado clubs out here and all the anglers there. I thank you. Without your support, the two Patriot Outfitters Dock Talk podcast would not be here. All of my brothers and sisters here in Colorado that have made it possible for us to have a podcast that now reaches nationwide. This is a huge, huge deal. We're not going to forget our roots. And of course, our nation's warfighters. We love you guys. And always know the TPO is here for you. If you need something, you reach out to us, DM me, hit me on socials, hit me on the business line, whatever the case may be. Look it up there, and we got your back. We'll get it figured out. I don't care if you need a plumber, man. We'll find you a plumber out there. I know a few people. So, any rate, like, subscribe, follow, shares, all that great stuff. Thank you guys so very much. We love you. Tight lines. Be safe.